what I think is a mentor. In science, I feel like a mentor is somebody who takes a special interest in helping another person develop into a successful professional. I think that it's important to realize that most researchers agree to serve as a mentor because they want to teach and help develop the next generation of researchers. And I personally think being a mentor is a privilege and an honor. And I just want to emphasize that this role of mentor in the field is critically important, and that it's not just somebody who's looking for cheap labor to have a graduate student or a postdoc in their lab working. I think it's really, you should consider mentoring as a privilege and honor and a great opportunity to help another person develop into a successful professional. And down here, I just put some terms that you may want to think about in terms of being a mentor. You're often going to be a supporter, a colleague, a counselor, advisor, a leader, a champion, a guide, a networker, a role model, and oftentimes a friend. So what does a good mentor do? So I feel like a good mentor helps a student optimize an educational experience, become socialized into the disciplinary culture, and ultimately help that student find suitable employee. I feel that some good mentors will serve as lifelong mentors and realize that mentoring does not stop after formal schooling. So, to put things in context, I think it's important that people realize what a mentor and what a trainee brings to the relationship between mentors and trainees. So, I feel like the mentor will bring knowledge and skills that the trainee needs to learn, financial support for the trainee's research and education. But also, mentors need to realize that the trainees bring labor as well as fresh ideas and enthusiasm. And it's ideal if these mentors and trainees can work together to advance knowledge and put ideas to work. So I think if you're a trainee looking to join a lab, or if you're a mentor looking to recruit a trainee, I think it's important to recognize that there are some things that trainees need to know about the laboratory in which they're going to work in. It's really important that trainees know how much time they should expect to spend on a research project. They need to understand the criteria that will be used to judge their performance and to provide them letters of reference in the future. They also need to understand how responsibilities are shared or divided in the research group. They need to understand standard operating procedures as well as how data are recorded and operated. And a really big thing that needs to be addressed up front is how a credit is assigned, authorship as well as ownership of the data and the project. Now, I think that mentors need to know from their trainees that the trainees will do the assigned work in a conscientious way. They will respect the authority of others in the research group. They're going to follow research regulations and protocols, and they're going to live by agreements established for authorship and ownership. So in putting together these responsibilities, it's important to consider how good mentor-trainee relationships happen. And I think there are several things that you need to consider. You need to have a clear understanding of mutual responsibilities, a commitment to maintain a productive and supportive research environment, proper supervision and review, an understanding that the main purpose is to prepare trainees to become successful researchers, and that researchers need to consider their responsibilities to trainees before agreeing to serve as their mentor, and that trainees should be aware of the responsibilities to mentors before accepting a position in a laboratory or a program. So I think there are some tenets that occur in a good mentor-trainee relationship, and that a good research training environment will have equal treatment among all the members based on merit and review, high standards of professional practice, training in the responsible conduct of research, as well as shared expectations. And I like this pyramid because I think it illustrates that having a good mentor-trainee relationship is really built on a foundation of trust, where there's often listening and encouragement. You need to be reliable both as a mentor as well as trainee, and really important to have fun. So some quotes that I like and I think about a lot are to one, be the mentor that you wish you had. Oftentimes in this field, people tend to mentor based on what they know, and they don't think about what they might have wanted as a mentor and try to implement that into their own laboratories. And I also like this quote that the mediocre mentor tells, the good mentor explains, the superior mentor demonstrates, and the greatest mentors inspire. So, just some final thoughts. I think as you set up your laboratory, or if you're a trainee joining a laboratory, it's really important to realize that each research group has its own personality. And it's really important that you either find or build a group that matches your personality. And then I think it's also really important that you are cognizant of your management styles. And this is a cartoon here that's listing 8 different types of problematic managers. And I would just say to think about each of these things and recognize that these are potential problems. And if you fall into one of these categories, what could you do to avoid having this kind of management style and implementing this into your lab? Or if you're a trainee and you experience a mentor with any of these management styles, what would you do to make that situation better? So with that, I will stop and thank you for listening to this video.